So I've decided that I want to start this channel because I want financial stability. Not that that's going to start at first, but I'm becoming a YouTuber because I want to change my life. And I'm inspired by others who have done this through building channels on YouTube. I am an artist, Reiki master, teacher, mother, crafter, and I'm just getting started. What I want is, ultimately, I love to give back to others. That's why I went into teaching. It's difficult, though, for me to be in a school environment because I always go back to just calling it soul crushing. It was a soul crushing experience being in our public schools. And after 7 years of teaching, I developed some physical problems because the stress at home and the stress of work compounded, and my body just sort of stopped recovering. I developed inflammation and pain, where I started to see specialists, and I started to try to figure out why I was feeling so much pain and why I was developing so many additional symptoms that started about 2 years ago. And I realized I did not have a lot of problems physically, but yet I did. I got all of these normal test results, and then I realized that it was my life that was the problem. My stepdad is a retired gastroenterologist and internist, and at one point I was talking to him one day about what was going on with me physically and what the doctors had said, and his input was probably the most accurate. He said, "You can't keep going on like this, and this is what's going to hurt you. It's just the level of stress and the lack of stability," was what he pointed out. And it took me a while, but I've come to the conclusion that I think he's right. I think my body stopped healing itself and recovering because my sleep was so poor, my stress levels were so high, and I don't want to keep doing this to myself, because I have a daughter, I have goals, and in the stress and depression and anxiety of trying to do something in the education sphere with boots on the ground, I learned the hard way that it wasn't going to take me where I wanted. Is it difficult to change directions when I've been trying to become a teacher for 2 decades? Yeah. Letting go of that. I feel like my credibility somehow becomes like questionable. But it's not that I was a bad teacher. My observations, if you're a teacher or you know any teachers, you know about observations. An administrator comes into your room, watches you teach, and like marks everything you're doing wrong and marks everything you're doing right and gives you feedback. And that's fine. I was almost always considered proficient on my observations. The area where I struggled was getting to work on time, submitting lesson plans and paperwork on time. And I understand that throws everything off for administration. So it's not like I don't recognize the problem, but I have ADHD, I have CPTSD, I'm healing from a lot, and I got so much better about it, where I did develop ways for me personally perfectionism is an issue. So I wouldn't submit my lesson plans until I felt like they were really the best they could be. And if that was a day or two late, then like, I thought that should be understandable. However, if they can't check that box, it's a problem. And it looks like a problem for them. So, I don't work well in that kind of environment. So even though my lessons were great and my teaching was good, it wasn't going to go the way I wanted. There was too much stress in my last job. There was poor leadership. I feel like I need to start this over because I'm drifting. But why YouTube? I see the most room for growth as a small channel. My goal isn't monetization through AdSense. My goal is to find my audience, first of all, and develop a community, or like find my tribe. The people who resonate with me are going to find me. And right now, it's actually a great time to use YouTube for that, because the algorithm has shifted so that it's not really about subscriber counts, it's about quality watch time. And I think that the people who value the sort of information I want to talk about and the experiences I want to share, that they'll be there and we'll find each other, because of the way things are set up at this point, where YouTube wants to show videos telling stories like mine to people who are interested in that kind of content. They're not really worried on audience size as much as they are audience quality and watch quality. So that actually works in my favor. It also works in my favor that I don't know as much as I thought I knew about video editing. I can edit a video on TikTok. However, when I started trying to edit for YouTube, I realized this is going to be one of the early areas where I want to get help as soon as I can. I'm trying to find good apps and programs and strategies for that, but for the time being, it's just me. So fingers crossed. I really hope that I do grow quickly to the point where I can get help editing. Why do I want to change my life? I'm not happy with it. I don't feel like this is the best my life can be and the best I can be in the current circumstances. I'm not happy, and I think that I can do more if I have if I create my own opportunities. And this is one of those ways that I want to create my own opportunity instead of relying on finding a job. I've been trying. Any job seekers in 2026 are going to understand that it is not easy, especially when your network has shrunk to almost nothing. Not nothing, but very, very close to it. I've become really isolated, and I recently went through a really deep depression, and I'm coming out of it with the help of getting back on antidepressants. But that really was a reality check for me, because there's a giant bug in my garden, like flying. Okay. Outside the window is my garden. It's like overgrown with like plants at the moment. Anyway, that was an ADHD moment, if anything. Train of thought lost. My circle has really shrunk, and when I look back on my marriage, I'm divorced. I can see that I'm in a very similar place where I'm too dependent on the person that I am with, and I'm not financially able to stand on my own, and that is a position that doesn't feel good. Not only is the instability super stressful, where we're juggling bills and dealing with things getting turned off. We've had our electricity turned off twice this summer. I think there's a lot more to life than what I'm experiencing right now. And putting one foot in front of the other, the path will appear. So I'm taking action. I'm going to post this as poorly edited as it might wind up being. And I'm going to keep posting and keep growing as a creator. And what I hope to do eventually is help other weird, wonderful women lift themselves in their circumstances and elevate their creativity and give them more tools to change their lives in ways that will profoundly impact their joy and their peace and their ability to share and support others. I have a daughter, and I want her to see that following your dreams and creating your path in the world is a beautiful, vital part of life, and it's possible. Because I have buried my dreams for so many years, and I just can't any longer. It's hurting me to... It's almost physically painful for me when I reflect on how much I've been waiting for somebody else to come along and say, go for it. So from my heart to yours, I want to say, go for it. Start the channel. Start the channel, because your first 50 to 100 videos are just YouTube school. You're going to be learning. I'm learning a lot from other creators, and I'm learning a lot by reflecting on what I want to offer. And I've got to start. I've just got to start. I got to start somewhere. All right. Till next time. Bye.